They were strangers trapped in a living tomb. Their only weapon wasn't a tool. It was a song that kept their hearts beating.
Welcome to Vital Life Stories. Today we explore a breathtaking journey of survival where human spirit triumphs over the darkest, terrifying moments. It was a perfectly normal evening. Families were resting peacefully inside warm, cozy apartments after a very long and exhausting working day. Suddenly, the ground began to shake violently. The walls cracked open as absolute terror replaced the quiet peace of the beautiful night. The massive structure collapsed completely. Thick dust swallowed everything and plunged the entire area into absolute, total, dark, terrifying, heavy, cold silence. Trapped inside the ruined basement, survivors panicked. A phone provided faint light, revealing faces full of absolute fear and deep, endless horror. Massive concrete slabs pressed down heavily. The space felt tight, and thick, dusty air made breathing extremely difficult for everyone trapped. A desperate man started screaming loudly for help. His face turned completely red as sweat dripped down his forehead in the dark. A woman beside him quickly covered his mouth. She signaled him to remain quiet to save their precious limited oxygen supply now. The group of survivors huddled tightly together in the deep darkness. Absolute despair was clearly visible in their wide-open, tired eyes. The ruined space became completely silent. Only the echoing sounds of heavy breathing and rapidly beating hearts could be felt in shadows. Thick darkness seemed to swallow all their hope. A single drop of water fell, creating a cold and lonely echoing sound. An old man struggled to breathe heavily. He held his chest in deep pain within the suffocating and dusty air. A young girl nearby burst into tears. She stared blankly at her smartphone screen, which showed a completely dead battery icon. A terrifying silence took over the space. Death seemed to be creeping slowly into every hidden corner of the collapsed basement. A young man closed his eyes tightly. He tried very hard to suppress his desperate sobs in the overwhelming dark shadows. Suddenly, a very soft sound echoed faintly. It beautifully broke the deadly silence of the extremely confined, underground, ruined, dark space. A kind woman began to hum a familiar folk melody. Her sweet voice trembled slightly in the cold and dusty air. The people around her looked up in pure surprise. They slowly turned their gaze toward the source of the gentle sound. Their eyes gradually changed from sheer panic to a strange and calm focus on the beautiful and incredibly soothing soft melody. The singing voice was weak but steady. It acted like a small, warm fire, comforting the souls of the desperate survivors. The young girl wiped her sad tears away. She moved her lips to silently sing along with the first few notes. The old man closed his eyes peacefully. He gently tapped his fingers on his knee in rhythm with the soft music. The singing did not drain their energy at all. Instead, it helped them regulate their breathing to a much slower pace. The panic settled down completely. The air in the basement felt less suffocating, thanks to their steady and highly rhythmic breathing. The young man from earlier stopped crying. He took a deep breath and also began to blend his strong voice in. 3 distinct voices blended together beautifully. They created a small but incredibly vibrant and life-affirming chorus in the dark shadows. Others in the basement were gradually drawn in completely. One by one, they started lifting their voices to join the song. The singing echoed loudly in the enclosed space. The sound bounced off the ruined and cracked concrete walls surrounding them completely. The music became an invisible thread. It connected these complete strangers into a single, unified, and incredibly strong emotional human block. Their faces no longer showed extreme fear. They were replaced instead by a strong sense of resilience, courage, and glowing hope. A mother held her small child tightly in her arms. She softly sang a sweet and calming lullaby into his ear. The baby stopped crying completely. He fell into a very peaceful sleep amidst the chaotic and terrifying rubble all around them. Lightly injured people leaned against each other carefully. They used the collective singing as a powerful mental painkiller in the darkness. Darkness still heavily covered the space, but the freezing cold was dispelled by the radiating warmth of pure, deep human connection. The singing kept them completely awake. It prevented the deadly sleepiness caused by the severe lack of oxygen in the room. A man tightly held the hand of the person next to him. They transmitted strength to each other through the rhythm. Despite their extremely dry throats, they never stopped singing. The sound rang out steadily and persistently in the quiet, ruined basement. The camera panned slowly across each face. It captured the profound beauty of their fierce and intense will to survive perfectly. Above ground, a terrifying scene of absolute devastation and ruin appeared under the faint and extremely eerie light of the moon. Rescue teams were working tirelessly. They urgently dug through massive concrete slabs with the hope of finding any signs of life. Rescue dogs sniffed frantically everywhere. They started barking loudly when they suddenly discovered a small, narrow gap in the heavy debris. A rescue worker pressed his ear closely to the gap. He tried hard to listen for any sounds from deep underground. Amidst the loud noise of heavy machinery, he suddenly heard a very faint and distant melody, echoing up from far below. He raised his hand to signal everyone. They immediately stopped all machinery operations and maintained absolute silence in the rescue area. The space above ground became completely silent. The beautiful collective singing from the basement echoed upwards much more clearly and distinctly. The rescue team looked at each other in pure amazement. Their eyes shone brightly with immense and truly overwhelming, deep hope. The singing was not a desperate cry for help. It was a powerful affirmation of intense life and unbreakable human spirit. Excavators and drilling equipment were carefully maneuvered. They moved to the exact location where the beautiful sound was coming from below. Down in the basement, the sound of drills echoed down, creating small vibrations. Dust continued to fall gently from the ceiling. Everyone stopped singing for a brief moment. They held their breath to listen intently to the mechanical sounds of incoming salvation. Realizing it was the sound of rescue machinery, they smiled. Tears of pure joy and profound relief began to fall down. This time they started singing again, loudly. But they sang with a much more joyful, energetic, and incredibly triumphant, beautiful melody. The loud singing acted as a guiding beacon. It pinpointed their exact location for the frantic rescue team working above them. A massive, heavy concrete slab was finally lifted high off the ground by a powerful industrial crane under the bright moonlight. A blinding beam of light from a rescue flashlight suddenly pierced directly into the dark and dusty space of the basement. The survivors shielded their eyes from the bright glare with their hands, but radiant smiles bloomed widely on their dusty faces. A rescue worker peeked down through the opening. He shouted loudly that they were finally here and everyone was completely safe. Cheers erupted loudly everywhere. They blended perfectly with the sobbing tears of absolute relief and liberation after hours of terrifying darkness. One by one, they were carefully pulled up from the rubble. They deeply breathed in the fresh and cool morning air. The middle-aged woman warmly hugged a rescue worker. Her lips were still softly humming the beautiful melody of the song. The camera showed a close-up shot of deeply dirt-covered hands. They gripped each other tightly, refusing to let go. A gorgeous golden sunrise broke over the horizon. It completely dispelled the tragic darkness of the devastating night with warm light. Survivors sat on the ground, wrapped in thermal rescue blankets. They peacefully gazed at the brilliant and life-giving morning sun. The belief in rescue was no longer an abstract concept. It had become a beautiful reality through their incredible human unity. Police and medical staff were very busy caring for each survivor. Comforting smiles bloomed on their faces amidst the chaotic aftermath. The powerful song of life proved that the absolute strongest weapon in deep adversity is the unbreakable and united human will. The camera slowly zoomed out. It captured the entire rescue area, now completely filled with bright morning light and profound compassion. A small, peaceful street corner was rebuilt after the disaster. Tiny, beautiful flowers grew strongly from the cracks in the concrete. Birds chirped cheerfully to welcome the new day. They beautifully symbolized fresh beginnings and the eternal hope that never fades away. The survivors have now returned to their normal lives, but they will forever carry the priceless lesson of unity and strength. They reunited warmly at a beautiful memorial gathering. They sang the exact same survival song together, with joyful tears in their eyes. The beautiful music rang out with absolutely no fear. It was filled entirely with profound gratitude for their precious present life. Their incredible story continues to inspire millions of people around the world about the unstoppable power of human unity in darkness. We must always remember that even in the darkest moments, a single voice of hope can light up the entire world. Thank you for watching this incredible journey. Please subscribe to Vital Life Stories for more deeply inspiring tales of human survival.